Hi everybody, welcome to my first art vlog, and in this one I tackle something which is actually quite ambitious for me and kind of out of my comfort zone, so maybe starting as I mean to go on. This was kind of born out of a few ideas I had bouncing around about neuroplasticity and the way that our brains are capable of changing themselves, and we are capable of changing ourselves over time. I had a little bit of symbology or symbolism going on with this piece. I wanted to have a figure wading through long grass, because the analogy that I'd heard is that our minds are like grassy fields, and over time we tread pathways through these fields, and those paths become well worn and they become easy to just do again and again and again. But when we try and do something new, when we change our way of thinking or change our way of behaving, it can feel like wading through long grass. You know, we've not been that way before, the grass hasn't been trodden down, the path is not well worn. But sometimes it's necessary to move away from what is easy and move into what is actually more challenging but more rewarding overall. So I wanted to have these kind of mountains in the distance, indicating like challenge and reward, and the path that is easy to be going in the opposite direction, which was something that I really wanted to convey with this. I mean, I'm largely putting this up here for my own benefit. I'm using this channel as a way to keep me accountable, or as a way to document my process, my artistic process, of which at the moment I don't really have one because I haven't been doing art enough to really hone it in. So hopefully over time what will happen is I will get more confident with these kinds of things. So anyway, here is the process video. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back every week with a new vlog, so do subscribe if you want to see more of my process videos, and in the meantime you can find me at Jessica April Art on Instagram. So let's go! So I wanted to start with a basic frame. I usually work with the circles, but I chose an arch for this one instead, and I just began sketching out different compositions of mountains. Landscape drawing and painting is not something that I've practiced, so my knowledge is very limited and my skill is very limited. I started playing around with some colours, and I like to put little notes in the margin just so I can remember what I was thinking. And I play around with something slightly different, the idea of the figure walking towards mountains and away from the easier path. Eventually I just stick with the first one and I start blocking in simple shapes. Again, landscape painting is not something that I have a lot of experience with. I was drawing a lot of inspiration from Philip Sue Art. He's on Instagram and on YouTube, and he has a Patreon. I just decided to support his Patreon and I downloaded his brushes, which I'm not currently using right now. Adding in the figure without any outlines was really difficult. I'm so used to using outlines, and line drawing, you can see I'm actually putting some in to help me a little bit as like guidelines, and I'm just like sketching in a few extra details that I might use as guides. This took me a long time to get right because I'm still sort of figuring out how I like to do landscapes, and I don't really know what I'm doing. This is very out of my comfort zone, but I had a lot of fun just like painting that tree and using a more painterly approach, which is something I really admire in other artists, and it's something I'd like to learn how to do myself better. And yeah, I did try and make the mountains look a little more realistic, but I just couldn't do it, and you should really check out Philip's art, it's amazing. These are some of the downloaded brushes that I used by him, but I really, having different brushes won't actually make you a better artist, it's how you use the brushes that counts. So I'm figuring a lot of this out, I'm looking at references, but I clearly just don't have the skill yet. But I really like this Van Gogh quote that goes something like, and you can look it up for yourself, I'm doing the things I cannot do in order to learn how to do them. And that is so true, and there's so much vulnerability involved in making art, and accepting that you might not do things the way you want to do them and you'll get stuff wrong. So yeah, I kind of got it to a point where I felt like maybe it worked a little better. And yeah, just adding in like light and shadow as best as I could. Overall, I don't hate it, but it's a little different to what I usually do, and it was definitely a learning curve. And I think I actually ended up putting in some outlines to help me with the figure again. I'll be posting weekly art vlogs, and you can find me on Instagram at Jessica April Art for everything in between. Thanks for watching.